It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job. We are your podcast for relevant conversations with contractors, hopefully a little bit of entertainment for you as well. My name's Mike. That's Brian.
How's it going, everyone?
With us today, episode 46, we have Benjie Craig of Jemby Electric. President, founder, CEO, all of the above.
How's it going, Benjie?
How you doing today, Benjie?
Good morning. Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Great,
Doing
man.
great.
Thanks for taking the time here and coming on with us this morning. If you could kind of just give us a little background into how you got started in this industry and the road to where you are now with Jemby.
Yeah, sure. So I started out actually when I graduated high school. I wasn't ready to go to university right away, so I decided to take a gap year and started working as an apprentice electrician. So I did that for a year, and then started going to community college. Worked 3 days a week as an apprentice, and 2 days a week went to school. Got an associate's in business, and then a bachelor's in political science, and then kept working as an electrician. And
Government didn't entertain you well enough.
No, well, it was an interesting degree because I was doing business, and then I took a class called World Problems in Political Science, and it was just a fascinating class, and I could choose a lot more of the classes I wanted to study that route. So I actually took accounting for government and nonprofits, and I just took all of these. I mean, what doesn't relate to politics and stuff? So
Right.
It was a really neat degree. I enjoyed it, and I already had an associate's in business, and I was learning electrical contracting. So diversify the portfolio, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I got that, and then after I graduated, kind of sat down with my boss and said, "Hey, I learned some things in school, and I've got some ideas of how we can do some things in the company," and never really had a chance to work on those ideas in that company. So I worked there for like 7 more years, and then decided, I really want to, the ideas that I have, I want to try them out and see if they work, and see if my ideas can keep a business going and thrive.
Yeah.
And so then I started my own business. We started in August of 2011, so we're almost 9 years old. We do commercial and industrial electrical work. Our vision is to empower cities and people. And like I said, we do commercial and industrial, so we're working for businesses mainly. We do a lot of work for Tesla. We work for data centers, shopping malls, schools, cardboard manufacturing plants, just the gamut.
All of it, yeah.
So, it's really neat. We get to see into many different industries and see things there. But then the other part is really building and developing our team and developing the individuals we have on the team and empowering them that way. So, and we really enjoy that part. We actually just had 5 high school interns start yesterday. And I spent some time just talking to them about the vision, the mission of the company, what we do and how we do things. Cause we do things a little bit different than most places, and just how we approach everything. So,
those high school kids, are they interns, or are they actual like employees that are starting for you?
No, so they're interns. A lot of the summer internships have been shut down for Corona, and we decided to do an internship program. They're doing 8 hours and basically learning the back end of how we work inside the office, how all the pieces move. And
very cool.
It's gonna be exciting ride. We've got them for 8 hours a week for 4 weeks, and hopefully just give them some really cool skills and understanding of the electrical industry, because construction isn't always the place that everybody's pushing their kids to. Usually it's like a doctor or a lawyer or things like that,
right?
And I think a lot of people miss out on some great opportunities in construction.
Yeah, for sure. So kind of backtracking a little bit, are you guys doing more like new construction stuff, or are you doing like retrofitting and remodel of stuff? Or a little
so
bit
we
of both?
do a lot of TIs. I mean, where we shine, where we love to do our art, or do our stuff. What we really love is when a customer goes like, hey, we're just moving into it. We're moving to a different building, or we just got this equipment. Here's all the stuff, figure it out, make it happen.
Right.
So then we come in, we educate them on the process. We create the plan, send them into the city, and then hook up the piece of equipment or move them to a new location, or, whatever the needs may be. We really have a goal of trying to cover all the needs of the customer. So if they need a light bulb changed, not many of those around anymore now that everybody's going to LED, but something small like that, all the way up to moving their whole facility. We'll cover it all. And then we also we do networking and electrical. It turns out a lot of our customers, wherever they need power, they need some networking next to it.
Right.
So it's one of the things that we do that a lot of other contractors don't do, or electrical contractors don't do.
Very cool. So kind of moving forward, what are some of those, you mentioned you went to your previous boss and said, hey, I've got some ideas. Yeah. What are some of those things that you implemented that, maybe are working well, and maybe some that didn't work so well?
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, just looking back at my time there, it was a very reactive company, right? So we were reacting to a lot of internal things. And I just felt that as a company, we could be a lot more proactive and try to get everything on the company side organized so that the things we were reacting to were the customer fires. We want to be reacting to the customer's problems and issues and having our system organized. So that, that means a little bit more staff on the back end, help keeping everything moving and going. So we've been working and putting a lot of pieces in place, and it's always a shifting plate. But the team that I have right now is just so great on how they're helping build and set up and develop things. And I say we're kind of like a teenage company now. We've got some things that are working really well. We've got some things that are just kind of awkward, right? But our concerted goal right now for the next 6 to 9 months is to grow up, right? And it's really to become a mature company and get some of those other pieces kind of figured out so that we can continue focusing on responding on the customer's needs and not trying to fight all our own fires inside. And
yeah,
I've really got some great people in-house that keep everything going in the office. And, I've got a great field team as well. So it's exciting stuff.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it was more about setting up systems internally to be able to manage those things as they come, rather than, trying to react to them as they were coming in and figuring out a way to solve them. Is that kind of, and then, I would imagine that probably translates into, those same systems allowing you to grow and progress and gain a little bit more market share.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that we're actually doing through this as well is we're developing some software that helps us manage the projects from kind of birth to death of the project. At my last company and then here, I was just looking for something that would do it all. Like there's so many pieces of software out there, and they're kind of like, they're awesome at 3 things and they suck at 2. And then by the end of the day, you end up having like 7 pieces of software and you're trying to keep it all up to date. But only one can be that primary focus, right? Like if everything is important, nothing is. It's just, you're never. And so I was looking for this piece of software for about 8 years, going, somebody's got to have the same problem as me, but know more about computers. And finally, I was like, you know what? I give up. I'm gonna start developing this myself. So about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, we started developing the software to help manage and track all of our projects. And actually, later today, I'm meeting with my first company that's going to be beta testing. So this is the first company outside of us to try to use it. And I did a little call with them to show it to them. And I'm like, this isn't, like it's kind of at the beginning, but they're like, oh my goodness, like there's so much in here that's going to help us right now. Like it's ready. We need it. And so I'm like, oh, okay. All right. They're like, yeah, I've got all of these ideas of how it can become even better. And our whole team is dreaming of the next pieces, but it's helping us a lot now. And basically the goal of it is to help leaders make better decisions. right? And have all the information in one place, not in multiple systems, from the beginning of the job through the estimating process, through the design process, through the building construction process, and then billing it out, being able to track all your hours, your purchase orders, what's happening on the job, assign tasks, and a whole bunch more pieces. But that's one of the pieces that we're building to help us be proactive, because every time one person estimates it, somebody else starts building it. Every time it moves between people, there's information that gets dropped or left.
Yeah, it's like a game of telephone.
Exactly. And so we're trying to keep it all in one place, same place you get your purchase orders from. And then there's a lot of financial tracking of you can instantly at the end of the day see your hours spent on the job, your true dollar cost per employees, because if you have a journeyman doing something or you have an apprentice doing something, like different speed, but also different labor rates. So you can see your true cost of where you are on budget. And then you've got your material spend as well. So you can look at your purchase orders and you can see exactly where you are without needing to wait like a week for accounting to give it to you.
Yeah.
Right. And then so accounting can, instead of working on giving you those reports, they can be analyzing, right? Looking at the data versus trying to get you the data. So, and we actually created our own estimating thing that we were doing in Excel, and Monday we just got that like version 1 up on the website so that we can actually do all of our estimating on the website. So it's some exciting pieces of software for us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That we really hope is really going to help other contractors and give them the tools to be able to, manage things better. And software developers, you look at a lot of the software, and they built software developers for software developers to use.
Right.
It wasn't
not very user friendly. Yeah.
It's got to be like for my guys in the field, it's got to be like 3 clicks away. Otherwise, they're not using it.
Right.
It's got to be super simple. That's what I say. So.
No, that's awesome.
So you're like a systems engineer. You're not just a contractor that just, you're full on entrepreneurial. You're thinking of new ways to do different and better.
Stay efficient.
Yeah,
stay
that's
lean.
awesome.
Stay clean. Yeah.
That is not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
Well, so I've got one mentor. I was meeting with him, and he said, Benjie, you're a mountain climber. You always have to have a mountain to climb, and then once you figured it out, you're a power distributor. You have to train other people to do it, and then you go find your next mountain, right? And so, my goal of starting this business was, well, I should start with, when I grew up, I want to help other people start businesses, right? I think that's really my passion, is to help those people who want to start businesses start them. And so I started this business of going like, does what I think how business should work, can it work?
Does it
or
translate?
What needs to change?
Yeah.
And then how can I teach other people to do it? Right? Because, it's like 60% of our economy is small businesses, right? Like that's what runs this country. You don't hear about that. You hear about all of these, massive corporations, but it's small businesses that run this economy. So if we want a strong economy, we need lots of small businesses. So how can we empower people to be able to run small businesses? Now, like if it was easy, everybody would do it. But I think there are some tools and platforms that can be in place that can help people do it. Now, owning a business is definitely not for everyone, right? You have to have certain skills and mindset to want to do it. And you have to have a passion for what you're running, for the business you're running. Because when it gets hard, you have to want to stick to it.
Yeah, I would say it's more about mindset than skills, because the skills can be learned and bought, you know what I mean? But the mindset, like you said, of head down, go forward, grind is more important than anything, I think.
Exactly. And so the skill sets and the tools, let's give them this tool. So if they've got the right mindset, let's give them a tool that can help them thrive and make things happen and grow.
That's very cool. So backing up a little bit, digressing a little bit to back to Jemby, what's your employee count look like, and what is that? I know I mentioned at one point, you mentioned kind of empowering your employees. What does that process look like for you guys?
Yeah. So, I mean, right now we're not including the interns. We're about 17 people. And so, all of our apprentices have to go through the state schooling and things like that to get certified and get their journeyman license. But, when we bring a new guy in, we bring him into the shop for about 6 months so that he starts learning all the parts. He or she starts learning all the parts, the material, where our suppliers are, who all our guys are, our processes, all of that. And then we start moving them into the field and start building and training them. And then every month we have a half day safety meeting that we do some safety training. We also do any updates in the company, what's going on. And part of what we do there as well is we actually have a benefit that is it's a financial training for personal finance. And we run those videos in there as well, because if I can train the guys to understand how to manage their personal finances well, they will be thriving better. And then also as they grow in the company, they'll be able to understand how to manage things better, per project and things like that. And we really want to create the workspace to be a safe place for everyone, right? So we say you got to have positive interactions at work. And so what does positive interactions at work mean? It means you got to have positive interactions with your customer, because one, you got to have good connections with them. Then you got to have positive interactions with your coworker, because how you're interacting with your coworkers on the job site as customers are walking by, they're seeing that. And it may not, the person that sees that may not be the person who you're directly working with, but it may be a higher up who actually is a decision maker. And if the customers feel safe around you, they're going to want you back. And then also having positive interactions with your vendors, because sometimes you need things at 5 o'clock. And if you've got positive relationships with them, you're really going to connect with them. Now, guys go like, well, like, what if I need to have a hard conversation with them? It's like, well, that doesn't mean that, positive interaction is when you're approaching somebody about having a challenging conversation with them, you are doing it with the intent of building them up, not tearing them down, right? Because we're in the position we want to build people up. And another part of positive interactions I talk about is problems go up and praise goes out and down. So if you see somebody doing something good, say, hey man, that's awesome. But if you see a problem, take it to the person who can fix it. Don't take it to anybody in the company and just start causing, because they can't do anything about it. It's probably going to upset them, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can create this positive work environment, people go through a lot of stuff outside of work. There's challenges, but like I've had a couple people who are like, man, in this COVID stuff, like it's actually a relief to be at work because everything's kind of normal here. And there's extra rules, but they've got a sense of peace at work and they want to be here. They look forward to it. And then another thing I use as well is, we all got to carry our side of the couch, right? So I've got my responsibilities I've got to do, and you've got your responsibilities you've got to do. I just need you carrying your side of the couch. So, when I've got to have conversations with somebody about not showing up on time or things like that, that's usually how I started out. I was like, look, I feel you're not carrying your side of the couch here. Like there's things that we expect of you and there's things that you expect of us. And it's just a real simple image of like, I need you to carry your side of the couch.
Great way to illustrate it. Not an easy thing to carry by yourself.
Right. Yeah. And it's a team effort,
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you're looking for, it sounds like you've got a pretty extensive, training program or introduction to your company program for your new hires, especially for the field. Are you looking for people with any sort of history or background or experience in electrical, or are you looking for the person that's got no experience? You can kind of train them your way.
I love finding the guys that I can train up. I mean, it was hard in the beginning because you have to build a pipeline. You have to build a pipeline of guys. When you start a company, you don't just get like 6 journeyman electrician going like, I want to work for you. You have to build that up. There's that pain, there's that tension. But now now I've gotten to a place where I've got a really, really good pipeline of guys, right, in the process all the way up. And we're going like, okay, now let's let this guy start leading some small projects and, just building each guy up. And so our core values, we've got a couple filters as we look for guys. First of all, we use kind of our virtues are humble, hungry, smart from Patrick Lencioni. So we're looking for guys people who are humble, people who are hungry, and people who are people smart, right? So that's one filter that we use as we're looking for people. And then our core values are reliable, intelligent, caring, and honest. And so we're using that filter as well as we're looking for people for culture fit, because a lot of the guys who come in, this positive interaction and, how we do things doesn't match how other companies do things. Right. And there's a lot of like top down and, just do what you're told and things like that. And so, there's a lot of guys that don't actually fit with our company. They're like, well, that's not how we do things. Or that's not how we did it at our old place. It's like, well, this is how we do it here. And so it's a lot easier to train that up in the new guys. And, we've had some other guys that have come in and they fit real well, but it can be hard. That culture fit is important, because when you don't have that culture fit, there isn't the vibe that you need to keep things moving.
Yeah. Is there one avenue versus another that you're finding more success in finding people?
It's a lot of referrals.
We're hearing that a lot lately.
That's the best place. And, we spend a lot of effort on kind of internal marketing. We do a lot of different T-shirts, different logos, a lot of stuff that like make the guys be proud of wearing it, right?
Yeah.
And try to really make the company really sticky, so people want to stay here. They're proud of working here. They love being here, and hopefully through that they're going to refer their friends. And we've got a couple people who just really, they refer great people. We've gotten a few off the website and different things like that, but our best people are people referring people who they want to work with.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So from an internal management standpoint, what does your structure look like? Are you, obviously you're not carrying the couch by yourself, but when in a decision-making process, is there other people that you're relying on for that, or that you're bouncing ideas off of?
Yeah. So I've got Nate. I've got one person reporting to me, and then he's got two people reporting to him. And he's actually really working on developing and building our estimating and design side of things. And then under him, we've got two people. It's the operations leader, which is, she's leading the office and everything there. And then we've got a leader who's in charge of the field, and he's in charge of all of the guys in the field. And they're a really great team. It's just a lot of fun to work with them, and being able to bounce ideas off and just looking at how they are structuring things. And they're so invested in wanting to grow and build the people. We have a lot of discussions of how people are growing, how we can build them. And one of the things we look for in people is, people talk about potential, like high potential, low potential, or they have potential, but it's hard to measure that. Like, I've had guys who've always had potential, and I'm like, okay, one day that potential, it's like that pendulum, that ball's going to drop, it's just gonna go, right? But it's like, they've worked for me for 5 years and they still just have that potential. So, but there's another concept that Marcus Buckingham talks about, is momentum, right? Like, how do you measure the momentum? How do you see things moving? How are they moving and growing? And you can see that a lot easier than actually like potential, because like, how do you measure potential?
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's no like, yep, you've got potential, but
how much?
We need you to act on it. Right?
Quantify that for us. Yeah.
And it's the momentum where you see like, like I had one guy, he's just a great guy. During COVID, like we got shut down for 6 weeks where we could only respond to essential businesses, right? And during that time, he went out and bought conduit, and he was at his house bending pipe and practicing and learning, right? Like that was amazing. He was trying to improve his skills during the downtime.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's things like that. It's like, wow, okay, I'm glad. I'm really glad he's on our team. And then, we came back and watching him in the field, he's just growing by leaps and bounds. So, it's exciting when you see that, that's momentum. He's moving himself forward.
Yeah.
Well, and you get a guy like that, and eventually when he starts leading his team members, they'll see that and he'll be able to, well, first of all, he'll be able to recognize that,
Right.
but at the same time, he'll be able to teach that, because I think when you see potential into somebody, it doesn't always necessarily mean they know what to do with it, but when you have that leader, that person, that mentor that's in place, and they know how to take that potential and really form that and pull it out of them. I think a guy like that, those are the kind of people that you want on your team. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about, you mentioned COVID a couple of times. What did that look like for you guys from a job flow and a job forecasting? And also, I guess more importantly, probably just an employee morale kind of standpoint. How did all that process go down for you guys?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. We had, rewinding back to like November, December, looking at Q1 of this year, like our calendar was going to be booked. I was just like, wow, this is going to be our best first quarter ever. Because usually January, February is a little slow for us. And, but then we started getting closer and into January, and we had like 3 or 4 projects pushed out a year. And then somebody who leased a bunch of space and was going to do a big remodel is now looking to sublease and things like that. So I saw the market slowing down, and I actually had to shrink up a little bit in February. And then on March 16th, I actually let a couple people go and reorged a little bit more because, I saw things shrinking up. So March 16th was the day that shelter in place happened here. So I let people go and then went like, oh, we're all shut down. But two weeks before shelter in place, I sat down with my team and, I was like, hey, we need a new concerted goal. We do concerted goals of what are we working on for the next kind of 6 to 9 months in the company that's going to make the company better. And that's where we said, okay, we need to grow up as a company. We need to figure out who our ideal customers are. We need to create clear branding and messaging. We need to launch set up our jobs so they launch really well. And then we need to come up with a new business plan. And this was 2 weeks before COVID. So we shifted and changed things. And those are the 4 concerted goals we're working on right now. But then, shelter in place came, and, a couple of us are all working from home. We kind of went down to like 5 to 10% of our business. And so, just responding to companies that were essential businesses and stuff. But during that time, we were able to work on those concerted goals a bit and really push some of those forward because we had that set up 2 weeks before shelter in place. And so those 6 weeks, it was challenging because you don't know what's going to happen. When are we going to be able to open up? Things like that. But it gave us some time to work on the internals of the company a bit because, when you're a service company, pretty much any company, your company is like a plane. As soon as you start your company, you're flying. But while you're flying, you need to upgrade things, right? You can't just say, okay, let's take a week and just work on some of these things, right? You've got to change the engines out while you're flying and stuff like that. But here's a chance where we actually got an opportunity to at least just taxi on the runway for a little bit, right? We didn't come to a full stop, but we were able to do some work on some important things on the company and then take off again. So, and we had a couple big projects from right before that were waiting for permits. So as soon as things opened up, we got those permits, we've got guys going, and now we're working on keeping everything going for the rest of the summer. But we are hiring right now, and we've got a lot of work coming in. So it's been a real blessing. I think probably about 3 weeks ago, I think a lot of companies were kind of like, we need to get stuff going. So we've just seen a consistent
uptick
amount of work coming in and uptick. And so it's been good. I'm really grateful for that. For that business coming in, and we're just working hard to keep our company, keep our employees going, and help these companies get everything going, so that as things open up, they can get their production and their manufacturing and stuff going.
Yeah.
Well, week 3 though. So I remember for us, it was March 17th. It was the Tuesday, and it was that 2 weeks out kind of thing. We're shutting down for 14 days. When you got to week 3, knowing that you're trying very intentionally to keep a positive environment within the company. What were some of those things that you had to maybe really intentionally push internally so that your team wasn't feeling, because I got to imagine they probably felt a little concerned about their jobs and are we ever going to go back, or, what were some of those things that you had to employ to keep the company moving forward?
I was calling everybody every couple weeks or once we had new news. And then Nate was also calling them. And then every couple weeks we'd have a Zoom call where we'd get everybody on the call and just kind of talk about what we knew, where we're going, what's happening, and see how everybody was doing. So just, have a little bit of community there. And, everybody got it. We actually, there were some requests for work during that time from 1 or 2 companies that, we actually turned down the work. And I talked with all of my leads like, hey, there's this work. What do you guys think? And they're like, well, why don't we just lay low now? Because, we don't want to go into an environment and get all our guys sick now. And then when things open up, we're all sick.
Yeah.
And so, there was a real good awareness by my guys of understanding what the risks were. And so, it wasn't a matter of like trying to convince them or things like that. It was, we were having an educated discussion about it of like what was best for the team.
Yeah.
Which was great. I mean, I'm really appreciative, that they were looking at it like that, because it made for a really easy discussion.
Right.
And, they all wanted to work, but they all wanted to work safely. And then, at the beginning of March, the county came out with the guidelines of how we can operate and how we can do construction safely and stuff like that. So we implemented all of that, got the touchless thermometers. Everybody's got masks. You can actually see, I've got
I saw your
mask here, right? We got customized Jemby ones. We started out with the surgical ones, then we got these, and then we got some face shields. So just trying to find different things that will make, keep them safe, but help them be comfortable.
Right.
In the field. So, one of the things to say is, if we think it's going to work, we're going to try it. If it doesn't work, let's try something else. So just like, we started out with surgical masks. Then I started wearing these and I thought, what, this actually is pretty good. So we got a bunch of those for the guys. And then we saw the face shields coming out. So we got like a handful of those for people to try. And so, the guys feel like, we're trying to find the right things for them. Right. And so, they're trying it out. Some of them like this, some of them like that. And, so it's been good. I mean, wearing these masks, I was actually since things are so busy, I was actually working last night with a guy, and it's challenging working in the field with a mask all the time and you're sweating and, but it's the stuff that we have to do to keep everything safe. So,
yeah. Right. No, I would imagine that it's been quite a shock, but like you said, I mean, everybody's got that mindset of, let's
culture
right.
fit.
Yeah.
You've got a good team of people that, that are already fitting into that culture already. So speaking back to that morale issue or being out in the field today, wearing a mask, they are able to adapt and move forward. I mean, you don't find that every day.
Yeah.
I think, and speaking to you, Benjie, I think it sounds like you've been, from the very beginning of our conversation 36 minutes ago, you've been very intentional about finding that team of people that are willing to kind of move with you in that respect. And it sounds like it's not only helping you in the good times, but also in the very difficult times as well.
Yeah. No, and it creates for good, hard discussions of where everybody puts their views out there and they see we're not attacking each other, but we're attacking the ideas that are on the table and trying to find the best idea for us to go forward.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what's the future look like for you guys? What's forecasted out? Where are you guys planning on taking the company, 3-5 years?
Well, so I mean, we have to see how this Corona thing plays out. I think probably like 10, 15 years ago, it was a lot easier to like kind of project out like, okay, here's where we're going, and so I think things are a little more fluid now, but we'll see how things go. I mean, we want to grow as we're profitable. Like, I tried before, like just adding guys on and trying to push it, and that wasn't growth just for growth's sake is cancer, but growth that's profitable is healthy, right? And so we'll continue growing as you build people, as you bring people into the pipeline, your company is going to continue to grow, right? And we've got ideas of opening up other branches, different places. The Bay Area isn't the cheapest place to live, and so as we build guys up, and if they want to move to other places, and we see a good fit, we'd love to open up other branches. Then I've got this software, Jazzbo, that I'm hoping to kind of launch as another company this year, somewhere at the end of the year. So then a lot of my effort will be focused on that. And then Nate, the guy who's reports to me, he'd be the one really focusing on running this ship, right? Because part of building and running things is being able to empower others to run things. So giving him a shot at running this company while I'm setting up the next one. And I've got some other ideas for companies too. That's the fun part for me. But I have to make sure that I've got a really good, healthy system before I get distracted with something new.
Yeah, no, for sure. You want to be able to have the confidence to step away and try something else, and know that those things that you've done and put in place and spent blood, sweat, and tears building are not going to crumble down without you there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Well, we appreciate your time, Benjie. We'll let you run and get on with all your adventures. Before we go, can we let everybody know where to find you guys? Websites or social media, or however they can get a hold of you, both with Jemby and what was the other one? Jazzbo.
Yeah. So Jemby.com, JEMBY.com. And then I'm on all kinds of social media. It's Benjie Craig, BENJIE, and then Craig, CRAIG. And then Jazzbo, JAZBO.net. It's not
live yet.
It's not live yet, but keep your eyes peeled, and hopefully coming to you soon.
What is how did you come up with Jazzbo? What's the foundation of that name?
Well, I'll start with Jemby. Jemby is so it's kind of like my name mixed up a little bit, and so I get called Mr. Jemby a lot instead of Benjie. Like people just mix the two up. And, but it was my gaming name in high school, right? And so you're like when you play video games, you always want some kind of name to use,
right?
And Jemby was mine, and then when I was starting a company, I'm like, okay, what's
out there that nobody else is using?
Yeah.
Well, you're looking for something short, unique, and easy to spell. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so that fit all those categories, and so I used that. I was racking my brain with like what should I use, and my brother-in-law is just like, just use Jemby, like so it's fun and it's sticky. Usually the second or third time I meet people, they're like, hey, what is Jemby? Like what where's that come from? What is it?
Yeah.
And then so Jazzbo, JAZBO, is actually my wife's nickname when she was growing up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. The two syllables both start with J and a B.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. Like, maybe someday I'll start companies off of my two boys' nicknames, but their computer video game names now are just way too long and complicated. So I gotta let them grow up a little bit and work on these first.
That's funny. Yeah, you can't force it, right? So I have two daughters, and the oldest drew me this really kind of cool thing when she was like 4 years old for Christmas, like flowers and all this other stuff. So when she was a couple years later, when she was not much older, I actually got a tattoo of it with some script on there and some stuff in her name. So, and then she's 12 now, almost 13. And my youngest is just turned 4. And so now the story is, well, what is the 4-year-old going to draw to put on you, to tattoo on you, which I don't mind, but it's almost like she's forcing it. Like every time she draws something, like, Daddy, you want to tattoo this on you? Well, you can't just force it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I obviously those things don't relate too well, but same kind of thing.
Can't force it.
It'll come over time, right? That piece of artwork will come at the right time and go like, there it is. That's awesome.
There it is. Yes, sir. Well, again, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much, Benjie. Have a great day. Stay safe, and we'll keep in touch.
No problem. Awesome talking to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
We'll see you later.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.